Okay, testing, 1, 2. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now? Okay. This is a Reality's Temple on Earth rap video. We're going to be casual. There's just something on my mind that, like Peter Griffin from Family Guy always said, grinds my gears. I have to get this off my chest. So this is a rap video. Welcome to the Reality's Temple on Earth. And of course, I am your host, Angel Snub 7. Okay. How do I want to kick this off? I first want to make something very, very perfectly clear. Very, very clear. I am not a teacher. I do not teach. What this ministry is attempting to do is cause you to think for yourself so that you can analyze information and so that you can begin to act upon your own thoughts that is within yourself. You don't need to look outside of yourself once you become an adult. Well, I take that back because there's always information out there and you can get it from several sources or whatever. But what I'm trying to tell you is that everything in nature, from the dog to the bee, to the flea to the skunk, you and I are born with everything that we need. None of these creatures come onto this planet. They are dependent on somebody else for their survival. They are capable of functioning on their own. They don't need a holy book. They don't need a divine person to guide them. We need these things because we have been turned into slaves. And that's your problem. I don't care what race you belong to, your gender, sexual orientation, rich or poor. Humanity has been conditioned to be a slave. And you can be a slave. There's all kinds of slavery. You can be a slave to cigarettes. They call it addiction. It's slavery. An alcoholic, slavery to spirits. Slavery to the belief in some God. Slavery to your wife or your children. Anything that you put above your own life. Because a slave's life does not benefit him or herself. A slave's life benefits their massa. The cigarette companies. The companies that make alcohol or condoms. Or you want to stay in the good with your wife. So everything that you do, you want to bow down and make sure she's happy. Some of y'all even allow your children to control you. And if that's what you're about, you don't need to come here because I am about 1000% liberation of the mind. You are not going to be a slave to your children, your husband, your wife, another man, another woman, God or alien. It is better to be out of existence than be a slave. It is unnatural to be a slave. Domesticated to serve somebody else. This is your life. Enjoy your life. If you're dumb, so what? Then you are dumb, but you enjoy your life the best way that you can. You don't allow nobody else to control you in your ignorance. So I am here not to teach. To teach means to train. When you go to school and they teaching you something in college, whatever, they are training you to do something. To teach means to train you to do what? If I am in a religious believer, what are you being trained to do? You are being trained to believe and be loyal to some god or alien or whatever it is that they have chosen for you to become a slave to. You are trained to be a slave. And that is not what I'm about. If you want to be a slave, your best bet is to just go on. I want those who seek 1000% liberation of the mind. Those who are self-thinkers, wish to move forward, that love their life, and everything they are benefits their life and their loved ones of whom they share this life with. My purpose is simply to suggest to us things that will benefit us, give us advice to us, that which benefits us, not just to me, but we as a people, so that we can become the successful persons or group or a people that we have the potential to become. But you cannot arrive at your greatest potential as long as you have the mentality of a slave, because a slave has a leash on him or her, and they can only go as far as the massa allow them to go. My topic for these few minutes is, this is my rant that I hear all the time, and I really, something kept bothering me about this statement. And finally the answer has come, because I'm a self-thinker. I gave it to my brain, and my brain said something is wrong with this, and now my brain has given me the answer that I was looking for. It can happen to you when you allow yourself to think and accept the reality of the life that we have been born into. Wow. Our problem is we don't think. I want to give us something to think about it. There is no right, there is no wrong. I want to give us something to think about. That is our problem. We don't think. We allow books. Well, the Quran said this. The Bible said that. Well, it says this in the Torah. It says this in such and such a book. Reverend Mudflap said this. Dr. Umar said that. Louis Farrakhan. You don't think for yourself. So when you get into these debates, you are limited in what you can say, because you are a slave, and you're limited in only in what your massa give you. Your massa gave you a book. You can only go as far as your understanding of the book or the DVD that you just listened to. The statement that grinds my gears is, I hear all the time that Elijah Muhammad, of whom I love, if Elijah Muhammad was not in my life, chances are I would not be speaking to you. And I know that Elijah Muhammad was not a perfect person. I don't view Elijah Muhammad as divine and holy and all like that. He was just a person, and I am very grateful for what he was able to accomplish. I do not support Elijah Muhammad in those things that I find in error, because he taught me to support truth. He told me to become a righteous person. So if he takes actions that's contrary to that, even though he taught me these things, I cannot be loyal to you when you're wrong. And that's your problem. No matter what these people do, you justify their wrong. And that makes you unrighteous. So stop lying and talk about you are the righteous, because just like Dr. King says, evil exists because good people do nothing. So I hear all the time, Elijah Muhammad made Malcolm X. Elijah Muhammad made Muhammad Ali. Elijah Muhammad made so-and-so. Well, No, that's incorrect. Elijah Muhammad influenced. Elijah Muhammad inspired. But Elijah Muhammad did not make Malcolm X. Certainly physically he did not. Or Muhammad Ali. What he did was give them something that caused them to be able to express what was already in them. If Elijah Muhammad made Malcolm X, if Elijah Muhammad made Muhammad Ali, then that means he gave them their talent. And he did not. The talent Malcolm X had, and even in his early childhood, Malcolm X wanted to be a lawyer. And when he was given these teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he expressed that talent in himself, like being a lawyer in the defense of the descendants of slaves having dark skin, born in America, and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he did that well. But that talent was already in him. Elijah Muhammad only gave him a vessel to express that talent. The same with Muhammad Ali. He was already Cassius Clay. He already had a big mouth. He already had all these different things. Elijah Muhammad did not give him boxing skills or the ability to talk. Muhammad Ali already had these things. The only thing Elijah Muhammad did was give these brothers a vessel in order to express themselves. And they began to express themselves at a very high level. The gift was already in them. So this is false that Elijah Muhammad made Malcolm X or Muhammad Ali. This is false. This is what Elijah Muhammad taught. Elijah Muhammad taught that the duty of a civilized man is to bring civilization to the uncivilized. So if Malcolm X or Muhammad Ali and many others, if they are lost, if they are deaf, dumb, and blind, the duty of a civilized man, and Elijah Muhammad is supposed to be this civilized man, then his duty and his responsibility is to bring civilization to the uncivilized. And when you do that, the talent and the gifts that is already within those people, they can express themselves. But see, when religion is involved, there's always a catch-22. Because not only, I'm not doing this out of the kindness of my heart because I'm a civilized man. The reason why I'm doing this because I want you to praise me. And that's what Elijah Muhammad and Muhammad Ali did. Oh, Elijah Muhammad this. Oh, your holy apostle. They praised Elijah Muhammad and became his slave. And when Malcolm got uppity and left the plantation, then he sent slave catchers to kill Malcolm. That's the bottom line. And when Muhammad Ali did not want to obey his massa, then just like Malcolm, he was kicked out of off the plantation for a year. Because you have become a slave. I'm not going to civilize you just for your benefit. I'm going to civilize you so you can become my slave. You should want black men to stand up for themselves. You should want black men to respect our women and fight for their freedom. But there's always a catch-22. And then you make them believe you made them when you did not. The gift was already there. And you also are civilizing them for an ulterior motive. And that's deception, and that's wrong. I love you, Elijah, but I cannot embrace that. So with that said, let's talk about it. Not teaching you anything. I want you to think about this. And I say, and I know that you can't refute that Elijah Muhammad or you or anybody can make another person. And if you help somebody, are you doing it out of the kindness of your heart, or do you want praise, or you have some ulterior motive? I don't mind. I am not all-knowing. I'm not a know-it-all. I am capable of error and mistake. And I'm tongue-tied. I want you to show me my mistake so that I can correct that mistake so I can get strong. I'm not going to argue and debate you when clearly you are right. We love to do this, knowing you are wrong, but you want to argue with somebody anyway. That's so silly and dumb because you believe and you're loyal to a lie. This is the reality step on earth. I am loyal to the real truth. Now, of course, I have the right to challenge what you present to me, but if it is correct, if it is right, I will submit to it sooner or later. Well, why don't you submit to God? Because that ain't right. That's fantasy and fiction. I can't do that. I'm sorry. Those of you who believe in God and aliens and spaceships and stuff like that, more power to you. I cannot do that. That's outside of reality. I can't do that. But if you choose to do that, so be it. Now we want to continue and add on to what I presented in part 1. Elijah Muhammad did not make Malcolm X or Muhammad Ali. The word we want to focus on is make. Make or manufacture. When you manufacture, you are making something. Manufacture. When you make a cup, when you manufacture a car, when you manufacture a boat, make a fork, make a pair of shoes. What do all these things have in common? The things that you manufacture, the things that you make are tools. The cup you manufacture to serve you. Let us, in religious teaching, let us make man. The purpose is so that man will serve whomever made him. That was a mistake that the God made, and I will tell you why in just a second. That was a mistake. You should have made man the same way that you made the cow. And even in certain animals, you can't do that. I will tell you why in just a second here. These are all tools. These are things to serve you. You manufacture a car to serve you, a boat to serve you, a fork, a pair of shoes, a computer, the internet, all the things that you make, all the things that you manufacture, all these things are tools. And they are designed to serve you. They are made. However, there is a problem that arises when it comes to the human being when we claim that we made Malcolm X, we made Muhammad Ali. I made you, Negro. I made my son. I made my daughter. Come on, wife. Let's make a baby. The word make, meaning I am putting into I'm putting or beginning a process to bring something into existence designed to serve me. You cannot make a baby. You cannot make a human being, the only thing that you can do is bring two pieces of the puzzle together, and then on its own, it begins to manufacture and create this life. You don't have nothing to do with it except that you were able to bring the pieces of the puzzle together. That's all you've done. The process itself is natural. If you were actually making the baby, then you have something to do with the manufacturing process. So when you make a cup, you put the clay or the mud down, and you actually form the cup or the bowl, the spoon. When we drive our cars, there's a factory, and people actually are hands-on. They putting the wheels on, and the headlights, and the turn signals, and the steering wheel, and all the things that you manufacture, the things that you make is hands-on. But when you make a baby, when you make a human being, you're dealing with a natural process that you don't have nothing to do with. It's been going on for eons. And then when this child that you claim that you make, you don't get rebellion. See, this is the key. When you manufacture the cup, there is no rebellion. When you manufacture your car, there is no rebellion, or the boat, or the pair of shoes. There is no complaint. There is no rebellion from those things that you make, that you manufacture to serve you. However, in the case of the human being, because you really did not have anything to do with the actual manufacturing process, and this human being, even this animal, they have their own mind, they have their own feelings. They are capable of making, they are capable of manufacturing. And since they are just as capable of manufacturing and making things as you are, then they rebel because I can make things just as well as you can. Why should I bow down to you? Why should I serve you? You even see this in certain animals. They may not be able to do or have the mentality that people have, but they will rebel. They know that they are not supposed to be serving you because you did not make them. You had nothing to do with their coming into existence. The only thing that a human being can do when it comes to animals and other human beings, the only thing you can do, you cannot make a man. The only thing you can do is make a slave. So when that child comes into being, or when that animal comes into being, you control that animal through fear, through brute force. You control that human being through ignorance and fear. That is how you control them. That's how you make them. And there's only one thing that you can make. And you turn that human being out of its nature, or that animal out of its nature, and you begin to make a slave out of it. A slave exists only for the benefit of his or her master. So we go back to religious teaching, and it said in those teachings that God made man. God is taking something, and I'm going to make something that has the potential to be great like myself. And I'm going to make a slave out of it to serve me. I'm going to make man my tool. But the problem and God's mistake is that this man that you claim that you make, you gave this man a certain degree of intelligence. In fact, we are taught that we are the children of the Most High, and you're going to turn around and make me a slave? You're going to call me your son? You're going to call me your daughter? Then you're going to turn around and make a slave out of me? Oh, baby, let's make a child. Then you turn around and you want to make a slave out of your daughter and your sons. And very quickly, because they are human beings, they are not slaves. It is not natural to be a slave. It is not natural for you to have a life and then use your life to serve somebody else. That's not natural. Animals will rebel against it. Insects will rebel against it. Of course, human beings will rebel against it because it is unnatural in this reality for any life to bow down and serve another life. You got your life and you live the way you want to. You're not going to take mine and use me for your benefit. And so all over the world, when you have oppression, when you have people trying to make slaves out of other people, you will eventually have to deal with rebellion. So I'm making a slave out of you. I'm going to do it because you're ignorant, because as soon as you are born, I'm going to teach you in a manner so that you would be a good slave at birth. That's how I'm going to get you. And I'm going to use fear to keep you that way. But it makes no difference. Fear, you can only use for a certain period of time. Ignorance, for a certain period of time. Sooner or later, these who are slaves will rebel. Because it is not natural to be a slave. Even this God should learn this lesson. Whether you believe in the Bible or the Quran, makes no difference. In both books, because they basically tell the same stories, but you will see people in both Bible and Quran, they are rebellious. And some of them in these stories, they have interaction with this God. They know God is powerful. They know God is all this, but yet and still they rebel. Because it is not natural for human beings to be a slave. It is not natural for no life to be a slave to another life. Slavery is unnatural. This is why people rebel against God and will continue to rebel against God. And there's nothing God or devil can do, because they will rebel against the devil too. You want to blame the devil for this and that, but they will rebel against the devils too, because nobody wants to be a slave. You have the right to think for yourself, and then you decide what you want to do with this life. It was given to me. If you didn't want me to have life, then what you give it to me for? You need to ask yourself that question.